You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the KCSN Defensive Film Breakdown, brought to you by Derrick Johnson's Defend the Dream Foundation. I am joined by Mike DeVito and Derrick Johnson. First of all, before we do anything, go down there, click that link. It says donate. Click it to DJ. Give a little money to the foundation. That's good. DJ, my friend, I saw the tweet that you put out to Nick Bolton this week. Nick Bolton takes over the franchise record for tackles. I personally, I think there's room for you both on this list. One for 16 games, one for 17 games. I think that we should do that. But, you know, what's it feel like to watch something like that go down? A guy that we've been praising all year long, and Nick Bolton. What's it feel like to watch that happen?
Yeah, when it's legit, and you have a young player like yourself, like Nick, every game in and game out, he's freaking busting his tail over and back and over, sideline to sideline, and we talk about him all the time. We can't not talk about Nick. I mean, he's in every play. It's just what it is, and it actually makes me proud, especially being the Chiefs,
right.
Which is pretty cool. Records are always put out there to be broken. So, regardless if it's broken, early or later, it's going to be broken.
Right.
And you want stand-up guys. You want guys that really are legit. And Nick is here to stay, man. I tell you what, man. I'm very impressed with him. Hopefully this offseason I can get a chance to talk to him and maybe even watch some film. That'd be cool.
That's interesting, though. I never thought. I guess it never hit me that. Not just DJ, not just your record, but just sort of records in general. How does everything have a sort of asterisk moving forward compared to because how do you do 16 games versus 17 games?
Yeah, I mean, Therese Paylor used to say that all the time. It's like, man, this switch in there is like, I kind of just want to packetize all of these old records and just set them over here. Those were the 16 game records, and let's start new. So
yeah, and this was a good example about it. But when you talk about Pat Mahomes, we don't want to do that, because he
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Drew Brees, so let's keep it on,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was a little bit frustrated too because Chris Jones beat my sack record this year. I had 3. Jones had 15 and a half.
I mean, it was close. It was a dead heat. I mean, that was a hell of a last game.
It was an extra game. It was at 17.
That's what did it. All right. We're switching things up a little bit this week. We're still going to do defensive film breakdown like we've been doing, but I'm going to let DJ and Mike just kind of go off on this. They've said several times, there's so much depth to all these plays. There's so many things that go into all these plays, and we only, we cover what we can and try and get in a bunch of plays. We have 2 plays this week, and I'm going to let Mike and DJ just kind of roll with it because I always learn something with this stuff. I know we see all the YouTube comments and all the comments online and everything. You all learn something from them. So we're just going to dive right in here. We're going to start with this play back up against the goal line here. You're going to see 21 personnel. It's pretty gloved up here. And then this is the play that you're going to see. There's several highlights here, but I'm going to skip all the way to the end, and then we'll let this run a few more times. But I want to get the end zone view here and just toss it out broad to you guys. What you seeing here?
I'm so glad you chose a play like this. I was worried. I was like, he's going to choose some wide receiver screen or something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to choose 11 personnel, bubble screen with an RPO attached. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
DJ, man, what do you think? What's the first thing we're saying in this situation? We're doing this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Earmuffs. Got to put the earmuffs on.
This is just an old traditional I formation. I tell you what, the ball's going to follow the fullback. So right now, everybody's eyes are in the backfield. It's really no telltale right now, right, Mike? There's no telltale sign if it's going right or left. It's going to be a lead either way. But the Mike backer is the lead dog in this, and it's all about just going downhill, setting the edge, building a wall, and this is old school football. So roll the tape, and then we'll dive in.
Yeah.
Well, and real quick too, Craig, the first thing and this is what I was telling you, like the first thing we're saying to each other going in there is earmuffs, because right now you're backed up. And so you're usually going to get a hard count from the offense in this situation because they got nothing to lose. You got everything. They get you off sides. They're beautiful. They're out of that backed up situation. So you always got that backed up earmuffs, which I remember as a D line is difficult.
Sorry, you know what, Mike? Sorry to cut you off. I saw you did this early, and I'm like, I don't know what this.
Yeah, right. No,
this is what I call all the time, like earmuffs right now.
Right, we were yelling it. We were yelling it.
Telling me in my ear, hey, make sure the D lineman don't jump outside because we're in good field position right here, so we don't want to give them anything cheap.
Right. And you know what we would do in these situations too? I can't remember the name of the damn play, but we would be in an over front to the tight end, and we'd be everybody jamming inside because we know these are quick, hard hitting downhill plays. And so they would put us on the move, right? You'd line up in a 3 technique, a nose, and that wide 5, and then everybody's jamming inside. Two guys coming off the outside. What the hell was the name?
It was. I don't know if it was knife, but I know the right. Rex and Lex, were you here when we did Rex?
Yeah.
Three technique, but for the 3 technique and the 8 technique to slam inside, it really helps us out as middle backers to just flow over the top of those guys. And this is a formation where you say, hey, we can call that knife call or whatever we used to call it, and they can slam inside with the 3 technique and the 8 technique guy, and you can cut that whole side down on the strong side of the ball.
Right. It was like a 46 on the run because you had 2 guys coming on the outside and then everybody jamming on the inside, trying to take advantage of the fact that they're trying to get quick hitting blocks up front. So it takes the bullseye off the big guys up front and everybody just all over the place right at the snap of the ball. And I'll tell you what, I've seen so many TFLs in situations like this because we called that defense.
And another thing to add before we even hit play, down here when you're on the goal line situation or coming out situation, we know as a defense that they're either going to if they do a pass, it's either going to be a max up pass because you can't get a sack in this situation, and you need something quick to the flat, something quick, no deep shots and nothing like that, but any kind of runs. There won't be runs that are going, east and west. They got to go downhill because they're in a weird, they're in a tight situation right here where you can't afford to lose any yards by doing something cute.
Right. Exactly. Good point.
So let's go into Rex and Lex real quick. Just the terminology of that. I assume right and left, using the R and L theme. Is that just how you're aligning the 3 tech, or is it? Go ahead, DJ.
I'll handle it. Well, it's mainly on what I see as a linebacker, what I think the play is. Let's say the fullback is to the right, where it's like a far set. So I'm thinking nothing's really coming back to the strong side. So what I'm going to tell the 3 technique to the right, I'm going to tell him, hey, Rex. That means he's going to crash down to get him closer to the party so we can get more people over there. But it's one of those calls where you have in your toolbox. It's a bunch of them, by the way. It's not just a bunch of them that you have. And for linebackers to really know mentally what's going on in the game, it really helps us out to move the defensive lineman, because Mike knows whenever you're out there, the offensive lineman, if they know exactly where you're at and every single time, it's for them, they're like, oh, this is all right, we're good. Let's double up. Let's do this, do that. But if you can have your linemen moving on the snap of the ball on certain calls, it really messes their blocking scheme. It messes them up. They have to adjust on the fly, which is hard to do.
Right.
Yeah.
No question.
And it makes sense. Like we hear all the time, setting the 3 technique to the tight end. Like when you're looking at general scheme stuff, and it's like, oh, it's an over front and all that. It's not as simple as that. It's not like, okay, you're just lining up, you're doing the same thing every time. So that makes sense. I'm glad you're able to elaborate on that.
Well,
go Mike.
And you know what, too, Craig? Like during the week, we will have a breakdown of the offensive tendencies in different situations, and this is one of those situations. Like, offensive schemes will play differently in backed up situations. And so I remember, DJ, you always had a beat on like we don't know now because we didn't study the Raiders, but like you would give us a Rex and Lex even on this even balance, because I know you would have studied and known what was coming, because we would have looked at this situation, isolated, backed up situations and what we're going to get. Whereas when you're out in the field, an eye back is normally okay. It really could go either way. But in a short yardage situation, usually there are 2 or 3 things, or a backed up situation, usually 2 or 3 things that they like to do. Fullback in the flat, exactly. Downhill runs, and DJ, you would have had that teed up, man. And I used to love that.
And my coach in my ear when I had the dot is telling me these things right before. Hey, it's backed up situation. Remember, make sure they don't jump off sides, earmuffs, and get ready for your Rex and Lex calls. Just really get reminders and stuff like that. Even though I know that, but it's all about communication. And man, you get out there on the field, it really helps.
Got it. Okay, we're ready to play the clip now. I love that.
10 minutes
love
in.
all of that, man. I absolutely love all of that. All right, so here we go. You're going to see a little pin and pull action here coming out of the middle of the offensive line. Back that up. I didn't quite do that quite far enough there. And you're going to see the nose tackle kind of kicking into the center there. You're going to see a good job by Leo coming up and taking on the puller there. And then obviously a great job by Nick to fill over here. What you guys seeing after the play starts here?
Oh, I mean, I'm looking right at that 3 technique. This is a difficult block because you have that guard pulling and he's crossed. So I'm looking at 96 or
99. So,
okay. Yep. Okay. So looking at 99. So you see that puller, and the second you see that puller go out, you're supposed to play back into that tackle, right? And fight that pressure. But you also see the sort of fan block out by the center.
Yep.
And so this is a really tricky block to play because you have conflicting instincts here. You want to play out into the tackle because you see the pull, but you also have this weird sort of fan from the center that's wanting you to play back into him. So I've been here. I know where because normally this would be a quick, if that center goes right up, this would be a quick bang right back into the tackle and you're fighting pressure outside. But I can see how he's delayed a little bit because of the way that guard fans out. That's a tough scheme. You know what else there were some a really hard play. So they would run this, it would be a trap on the 3 technique. They would run it just like this, pull the guard, 74 would come down and ole you, and then 64 would come and trap you. Oh. And so you're like, you play the block and you think you're playing the tackle, and all of a sudden he's gone and now you're getting trapped by 64. So I just say that to say this is a confusing, it plays out a lot easier when you're playing it as a wide 5 and the tight end's coming down and the tackle's going around. That seems to be pretty standard all the time. Okay, play back into the tight end. Playing this sort of TG scheme on the inside, there's different variations and it can throw you off. So I'm just looking at that 3 technique and oh yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot to unpack right here. Keep rolling it, Craig.
Yep.
I tell you right here, 5-4 does a really good job by triggering when he gets a pull, outside pull, just triggering, knowing that he can spill any and everything because he had Nick Bolton to go over top of him. Yep. So he's never wrong. So when 5-4 is playing that position, that sound backer position, that off the ball linebacker to the tight end, he's a player that he's not the hit man, but he's the guy that can penetrate and he can't be wrong because as a middle backer, I'm playing off of him. And I just tell you, for him to trigger like he did, it really helped out and really helped declare what's going on for the running back. And Nick just doing what he does, just kind of waiting and just flowing, and actually has great eyes on the running back. And when you have great eyes as a linebacker, all the linebackers have great eyes on this play. This, you can do no wrong. But I tell you what, the center is trying to climb up to Nick, but the 99 just knocks him off. I mean, it's all about penetration. If you can get penetration, man, it's just life changing for linebackers in the back. And trust me, and Mike knows it's plenty of times that you get, cut out of your gap or whatever. Just freaking go. Never say, oh, I'm cut out of my gap. Let me try to get back into my gap and go sideways. Now you're in my lap. Now, now my vision is like, oh no, you got to get out. You know, you got to go. You know, I rather
That's the worst.
to the ground.
That's the worst.
But at the same time, everybody's doing a great job here. Everybody's flowing. They know it's a run. I really think that Raiders, they got to do a better job. If I'm watching them and saying, hey, what would be a problem for us? And not anything sideline to sideline, because some things can go wrong here, and somebody can. I mean, he can get tripped up and get in the backfield, and they can lose yardage on this play, which they didn't make much on this play. But I tell you what, it's all about downhill plays, and they went sideways, and it didn't fare well for them because Nick is ready.
Oh, that's a great point, DJ. I mean, like we said at the beginning, this is either fullback to the flat, downhill runs, short, safe passes. This isn't going to cut it down here. There's too many guys in there. But going back to DJ's original first point about sort of, you know, too much emphasis sometimes is put on, you know, not getting reached, whereas that means having your head in the right gap. But like, look at the backside. Look at our shade here. He's going to get reached by 64. But look at how far in the backfield 64 is. You know what I mean? So that back coming down, he sees that, and he doesn't see any hole. You know what I mean? He got 64 right there. So he's got to keep it front side. So as long as you're not – now, if he's on the line of scrimmage and 64 has that position, now look at, you know, between 64 and the center, now there's a lane in there. But because he's knocked back, there's nothing in that back's perception that's going to make him say, oh, yeah, no, I can cut backside. I mean, he sees that quickly and says, I got to keep it front.
That's because it's an outside play, Mike. That's why you don't down here. I mean, you can do it in the middle of the field, do what you want, but down here, you just want to be careful about going east and west.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, that's exactly right. And you know what I used to love about our defense, DJ, and like you see here, 51 out there. Who's 51?
51 is Mike Dana. Mike Dana. Yeah.
Okay. So he's an outside linebacker type guy. I mean, he's a bigger guy, but you know, we used to have this when this was our defense when we were there, DJ. That was me or Bailey out there at 97. Yeah. So you'd have, you know, the two big guys up and then another big guy, and it was just. I used to love being in this position because you get, and like 51 does it here to 87. I mean, there's nowhere to go, but you can just these tight ends when they're at the point. And they're supposed to block a big DN. It's just they're just getting mauled. I mean, it's just, you know, I used to just love that because there were very few tight ends that could line up and block me one-on-one. You know what I mean? And so you're just driving this guy back.
I got to point out Willie Gay on this play. I really is a hard for him to stay alive on this blocking scheme and still get to the party because this guy has a free lane off at him to get off at him, and he still takes the guy on with perfect leverage, hat in hands, and stays alive and gets part of this tackle. This is what you say. Hey, all three linebackers are doing their job. I mean, this is everybody gets a plus. Everybody's we're throwing a party on this play.
Hey, DJ, talk to me about who's taking on the fullback here. Who's the outside?
That's DB. That's a safety right here. Yeah, it's one Thornhill.
Everybody in the box, right? It's an 8-man box now.
Yeah, 8-man box.
They don't have enough to block us. We getting everybody to the party. So
how do you just how like as an like I don't know how often you were in this position, but when the lead blocker is coming out you on the outside, so you're not downhill, but you're on that outside. What is the technique? That guy's trying to. He's not trying to spill it, right? I mean, there's nobody really outside him. He's trying to pit it so he goes inside.
Not at all. And if he weighed a little bit more, he would have did a little bit better. But he did well right here.
He did what he had to do. Yeah,
absolutely. Just being able to set the edge. And it's harder for them. We usually have Justin Houston and Tom Ali. Guys, you know, Bailey, those guys setting the edge. So it's a little, you know, you won't even get any kind of stretch out there. But for a DB to come down like that and not olay and not avoid the contact in this situation, it's not any time to be cute. It's the time to come in and everybody take on your blocker and win and get upfield and somebody make a play, and everybody did that.
Well, and hats off to him. Hats off
Yeah.
to him. I know a lot of DBs don't want smoke like that in there. I mean, I know a lot of DBs that would have Olayed right around that guy, so this is good for him to get right in.
And I mean, yeah, it's a great call here. I mean, obviously 8-man box here. You're going to play single high out of 21 personnel. You're still going to be able to try and keep something over the top of this. Obviously Devontae Adams is out there, so it's easier said than done sometimes. But it's a good job here. And when he sees that tight end trigger, like that's his key right there. Oh,
Right.
He's blocking. I got to go. And so good job.
Yeah, really good play.
Great job by him. All right, fellas. Anything more you want to talk about on this play before we get to the next one?
I was looking at the formation. Another thing that can give you a little bit of the tip is the hash mark that you're on, right? So like you have, it's totally even with the pro set and the eye backs. So you really have nothing except for the fact that, okay, tight end is to the wide field. And so that gives you a little bit more of a hand. Okay, maybe they, if they're going to favor one side, maybe they're favoring this side. So I'm just thinking about how I would diagnose this before, I got down on my stance, and that would be one thing I would take into account was, okay, the wide field's over there and the tight end's on that side.
Yeah, this is taking a step further before we go to the next play with the DB. Is that Thornhill?
Yes.
Okay, so he does a great job by, and this is not even blitz for him. He kind of knows, like, hey, this is probably a run. And usually in this situation, Devontae usually, if he's back a little bit, Devontae will go and actually crack him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Corner involved. Now you can really get on the edge. But now for him to trigger like this, he really cuts down the Z receiver to go cut him out. And the Z receiver now, it's like I can't do that with. I'm gonna let the fullback handle him.
Yeah.
But if he was back a little bit, the Z receiver, Devontae is taught to, hey, let's go dig this guy out. Now you crack the place. Now let's see what the corner can do, which we've seen Snead come up and he can do this.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's when as a safety or a DB, when you're on the Z receiver side, the receiver that's on the tight end side, he's there to crack, to actually dig out the safety. And that actually, I've been through that a lot. And you can have everything freaking blocked up or bottled up in there, and they can get the edge just like that. Just because the corner is like, I'm following my guy, but my guy is actually blocking the
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh no, now I got to be the crack replace, and it's too late. And now that it's a soft edge.
That's a good point. I didn't even realize that. So what does the Z do that tips that off? He's off the ball a little bit.
He has to be off because the tight end is, that he makes the tight end eligible.
Oh,
but
right.
He's not. Devontae should be a little bit tighter, I believe. Yeah. So he can go help and go dig this guy out. He's a little bit too wide, but that's a tip for the DBs. If it's a run, that Z receiver is trying to cut you out of there. And what helps out is Snead coming up. I mean, it's a lot of stuff to unpack. Snead coming up, actually pressing. Now he doesn't know, like, man, should I go dig the safety out or what? Because I got a corner right in my face. So that kind of messes his blocking scheme up a little bit.
That's really good. I didn't even know how that worked out there. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's
really interesting.
That's the far raise from the defensive line.
That's really.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, that's DB job. All right, fellas. Well, we got another 21 personnel play here because we're keeping it here. And once again, you're seeing very similar sort of formation here. Now, all of a sudden, kind of what DJ was talking about there, you see that Z receiver is more condensed. He's condensed in there. Now, obviously, you don't have the safety walked up on this particular play at this point and all of this. Still, once again, 21 personnel. It's on that hash. So, again, a lot of the stuff that you guys had talked about before is definitely the case on this. Anything else that you're seeing in addition to what you've already talked about with the previous play that jumps out at you here?
The stances on the right are weird. On our right as we watch it. I mean, there's that wider split between the guard and the tackle, and 72 has this I didn't see his stance from the last time, but I'd be curious to see what this blocking scheme on the defensive left, our right, as we look at. I'd be curious to see what happens there.
Yeah, with that big B gap. Yeah, that's something that jumps out at us. we don't know what this, what play is this going to be,
Sure.
but this would be
that
interesting.
that would make me think lead open.
Yes.
If I knew nothing, I would think lead open with that gap.
Okay. Well, we'll give it a little run here. What you're going to see?
I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah. So what you got is this guard. They're trying to exchange this gap here, and it's almost like 64 forgot that they were doing that there, and maybe that might explain the distance between them. But you can kind of see it. It is a little bit of zone blocking in the middle there. You can kind of see what they're trying to do here, trying to get up the middle. DJ, you talked a little bit about, not going east to west. This is definitely more of a downhill run, just a longer developing one that the defense blows up here.
Yeah. So again, typically Raiders, I would say, this is the wrong play. Even though you got a downhill play, you can't do a draw down here. You're not going to trick me in thinking that pass play right here. Yeah, not a good. Got a good play to run, maybe in the middle of the field, but you see it doesn't. Nick is triggering right now because of the crow hop. That's what we call that side step. Whenever you see a running back crow hop to the side like that, stand tall, it's a draw right now. So that's your trigger. And sometimes it's a fake, but most of the time it's a draw. That's why Nick just steps up into the gap, and it's all muddied up in there. They did a weird kind of blocking scheme over here, which is not a bad blocking scheme. This is kind of funky, but it's a good change up. I mean, if they get George blocked, maybe they have something to the right a little bit. But again, when you're on the edge, now I'm talking out of my my position, but I know this well. When you're at the position that George at, that defensive end right there, you have a spot on the end of that 72's hip right there. And I don't care if it's a pass or a run, you're going through that spot. So you don't want to stop. You want to keep going and be aggressive, and good things happen when you do that. So just like on this play right here. I stop. I would just keep going, but I know why he stopped. I know why George stopped, because it's like, ooh, something, I'm not getting blocked. When you're not getting blocked, it's something, everybody's like, oh, it's a hold up deal, but he triggers fast enough and gets in there. And it's just, everybody's kicking everybody's tail. The defensive line pushing everybody back. This is another win. This is another win. It's kind of not cookie cutter for the linebackers on how we fit on this, but great job on this.
I'm unsure how this was supposed to work here. So DJ, is this designed to hit in the backside A gap? It's like to the A gap to our right as we watch it, or the front side A gap?
Front side A gap, possibly to the right B gap if they mess up. You know what I mean?
Huh. Because you wonder why.
What they're trying to do is get Willie Gay to really sucker in there, and because that blocker is coming from the outside in. So if he pins Willie and 64 blocks out George, that's a even though we got a one technique right there, that's going to be a nice hole if runs upfield or gets blocked.
Okay. So their first read is the front side A gap, but they're kind of hoping to get you to bite, and then they'll cut it to the backside A gap.
Cut it back if you blow it up. They'll cut it up. Yeah.
Gotcha. So when I'm looking, I'm going off of DJ. I'm looking at the
you see that hole?
Right there between. Yes. I don't understand why they thought blocking it like that, though, was the best way. I don't know. If they just do it normal.
Just kick him out and have the guard climb up to Willie there.
I don't know what the point of that, what that added. What I like about this is if you look at the nose on this one, so you got all this crazy shit going on around you. What can be difficult when you're at that nose position, or even the 3-tech too, is to commit too early. And DJ used to want to kill me with this, because when I first got to Kansas City, I was so used to 2-gapping that I would press my guy and I would be doing this all the time, back and forth, and going too far, one side too far. I really like the way the nose stays in there. And even with all that stuff going on, he doesn't bite on anything, right? He stays right there. Now, look, you have all this crazy stuff going on around you. It would be easy to see, like a natural reaction is just right now to come over to that opposite A gap. Well, that's something DJ knows I would have made that mistake. But he stays right in there, right? He stays patient. He stays on his block. And this kind of stuff that's very difficult mentally. But if you can stay disciplined, stay in there, and you could do it on both sides, there's nowhere to run. I remember, you know who this was imperative against? Guys like Le'Veon Bell, LaShawn McCoy. Oh, hold on one second. Yes, son.
That's exactly right. So what he's saying, especially on this one here, especially even though he's getting, I wouldn't say getting blocked, he's kind of, he's engaged with the center. If he can just steady keep pushing, and stay in that A gap, that's ideal. That's ideal because it kind of crashes everything, and everybody has an edge. That's how I use it. Everybody has an edge there on their gap, and what, man, I don't like the play, so it's kind of hard to critique it because it's like, man, y'all are just, why do that blocking scheme right there on the right side like that? But at the same time, the Chiefs are they probably didn't run this play again because
no, they definitely didn't. We're this far in. How about Brandon Williams just blowing up the left guard here? Just 66 here. The guy, the 3-tech, just. He helps ruin this play too. That helps definitely muddy things up on the front side there. But just
that for him to for 6'6" to drive the 3 technique to drive that guard back like that. Look at the running back. Running back has to get out the way. He has to get out the way, and then he comes closer to George. This is the ultimate team game. So it's one of the things where, hey man, just do your job, even if you're in your gap. Just like Mike is saying, don't come over quick until it commits. But until then, you need to fight against pressure, and then just squeeze everything. It's like a phone booth in there. And this play almost was a safety.
Almost safety.
And I can tell you this from being on teams that played Spags' defense in the past, that they've really done a great job of sort of being able to blend the, we're going to be this 4-3 that gets up the field 100 miles an hour with, run technique, right? Because a lot of times, you go back to, some of these 4-3 defenses, and a lot of times you see these fast, hard, penetrating upfield defenses just doing that, right? You'll see 66 just get on the edge of that guard and just run upfield. And that leaves massive holes open. It's great for pass rush, but when you have runs like this, it leaves big time holes open. But watch the way he gets up the field fast, and then he drives into his guy and knocks his guy back into the hole. That's a hole. That's a night and day difference. And so that, you're getting the best of both worlds here, and you can tell these guys are just well coached.
All right, fellas. Anything more on this play that you want to dive into? I know we're running long, but anything more you want to do this before we get out of here and get on to next week?
This is easy. This is what I got in my first 5-6 years in the league. This is easy. This is easy pickings right here. Not a good offense, because if you got the right players and you can scheme up something. But Raiders over the years, they've always adapted this old school 2-back formation. And
I know I lost DJ real quick, and my kids are in here. This is how long we've been talking, Craig. My kids are in here yelling me to feed at them. But you know what? Is also is interesting, DJ, to go off of what you're saying. Like back when we were playing these teams, you would get these plays, and we talked about this out in the middle of the field. But look at the offensive line. And not that these guys are just built differently now. They're more athletic. They're faster. They can move. Boy, we had some world beaters. You had some absolute maulers up front. You don't see a ton of guys like the guy from Indianapolis, that guard from Indy. It's just like everybody was like that when we were playing. And you look at these double teams and the one-on-one blocks, and boy, it was really a double chin strap, like get low, hang in there, no fair dodging. This is going to be a fist fight. And it's just, you look at this and it's like, man, I would have played 2 reps a game, but these 2 reps, I would have had a hell of a time.
Buddy, that would have been a stud goal line defense. Short yardage? No way. Absolutely no way. All right, fellas, we're going to go ahead and close this one down. If you liked doing these kind of two clip sort of things, learning more from these guys like I do, put it in the comments. Give us that
please.
interaction. Let us know. Chiefs, we'll be back next week to talk a little bit more about the playoff matchup. We'll talk a little bit about some more stuff. We'll bring these guys back, talk a little more defense. We will catch you later. But in the meantime, please go click the link down below. Derrick Johnson Defend the Dream Foundation. Donate a little bit money. Be kind to each other. We will catch you later.